Hello, everyone, my dear students. Welcome. Finally, today is our last lesson on object-oriented programming with C++. We discuss abstract classes, and also we are going to overview briefly everything we covered. Abstract class is just an idea. It is something you're supposed to inherit. Abstract class, you see it right now on the screen, it's called shape. Define just function prototypes. They're supposed to be virtual. They're supposed to have no body, that's the meaning of equal to 0. And they're supposed to be defined in the classes that derive from shape. So basically, shape class establishes just the basic patterns. As a developer of shape class, I don't know details. I don't know concrete details how to manipulate concrete shapes. But what I know is all the shapes supposed to grow, all the shapes supposed to shrink, also all the shapes supposed to be displayed or drawn. How it's done, it's up to those the programmers who going to inherit from my class. The shape class cannot be instantiated. You can't create instances, objects of a shape class. So it's supposed to be inherited. Those functions that not yet implemented, supposed to be implemented. And then you can create instances. For example, I may derive my rectangle class from abstract class shape. Line number 5. Then you see everything we just covered. All the static members, all the private members, public member functions. Pay attention, if I re-implement those functions defined in my base class, they also virtual. And here in CPP file, you see now the implementations. So you see everything is done, including 3 virtual functions: draw, shrink, and grow. Now I can instantiate rectangle because I basically made those pure virtual functions. Sometimes we call functions without implementation pure. I made them in flesh and blood, and now I can create an instance. By the way, line 6, I cannot instantiate shapes. So I just put a comment, don't try to instantiate shapes, it's abstract. But I can nicely create rectangles, and rectangle class is derived from abstract class shape. Let's try to compile. Let's try to test, and everything is working. I have a small rectangle. I did the drawing, then I have a bigger one, and again I did the drawing. So abstract classes concept, quite important. It is used very often in object-oriented design. And it's kind of similar maybe to Latin, the old language which doesn't exist anymore, but it's very important, it's very influential. A lot of languages, they derive from Latin, French, Spanish, Italian. So they are kids of this Latin language. Yes, it doesn't exist right now, but it can be developed, and it did. It was developed. So the idea of this course was to briefly explain you all the essential OOP concepts without getting into details. So maybe the total duration of the course is around 3 hours. 3 hours, 8 lessons, but we covered all the essential stuff. And if you understand essential stuff, it's not a problem for you to master Java or Swift or Kotlin, because those ideas are universal. By the way, in other languages, there are similar concepts to abstract classes. In Java, they called interfaces. And I think in some languages they called protocols, just a pure functionality without yet instantiation. Anyway, because the topic was complex, but the time was limited, I used in my class very simple classes, very simple member functions. You see them, and shape class not here, not on this picture, but we discussed it just last lesson. So let me go briefly through the terminology we covered in this course. So we discussed classes, we discussed objects or instances. We also defined data members and member functions. We discussed encapsulation, hiding data members, quite interesting concept to make your classes safer. We develop special functions to access data members, getters and setters. Um, we discussed public members of the class, private members. Later on, in the last lessons, we discussed protected members. Of course, we talk about constructors, very important function. Basically, it gives birth to the object, constructor, super important topic. We tried to build up objects, so we did two most common techniques to build up, to develop existing classes. One is called composition, when you embed data members as new objects into the class, and inheritance. When we discussed inheritance, we discussed virtual functions, because virtual functions allow us or allow objects of different classes to have similar behavior. Draw function may be completely different on a circle or on a rectangle or on a box, but during the program execution, virtual functions are properly found. We call this late binding, and they are properly called. So by using virtual functions, you avoid confusion, and the system is always calling the right function for the right object. And finally, today we discussed abstract classes. So our course is over. Thank you everyone who watched it. Please don't just watch, try everything in my lessons. And another suggestion, in order to be a professional in object-oriented programming, it's not enough. It's not enough to grasp the concepts. You have to use them. So take professional library of classes like, for example, STL, Standard Template Library in C++, or MFC, Microsoft Foundation classes. It's a huge libraries with maybe hundred of classes, and then you can learn how how object-oriented concept can be used in real life. So it's my suggestion. Maybe I'm going to create a course on MFC or STL, those two popular uh, libraries of classes created in C++. Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to share videos with your friend. Uh, Put some likes, some comments, and see you later. Good luck, guys. All the best to you. Take care.